you're a friend of mine, a personal friend or a student of mine, I'm really missing having you here at the studio. But I'm not going to get all sad. This is supposed to be fun. So today we're going to be learning about one of my favorite artists, even from when I was a little kid, whose name is Red Grooms. Red is in the color. That wasn't his real name. It was a name he was given because of his hair. Now before I talk about him, I want to give you kind of an overview of what we're going to do today. So I'm going to give you a little mini art lesson on Red Grooms. We are going to talk a little bit about making a three-dimensional construction and what that is. And then I'm going to give you some tips for parents. And hopefully I won't forget all this stuff. So let's talk a little bit about Red Grooms. Oh, I forgot to mention, I made you popcorn. And if you missed now I'm offering it to the videographer versus him stealing it. That's a good marriage. And he is eating it, as you can hear it. Okay, so I hope you have some popcorn, and are you ready to hear a little bit about Red Grooms? Show me you're ready. Stan, you're the only one here. Oh my God, Stan said yes, he's ready. Okay, so when I was young, and we moved to Maine when I was about 5 years old, we moved here from New York, just outside of New York City. My parents are both New Yorkers. And I spent most of my childhood going back to New York all the time. And New York during the 1970s, late 1970s in particular, and the early 1980s, was sort of coming undone, as they say. It was pretty rough. My parents thought they were old hippies. Well, they weren't really old hippies, and they thought if they got a job in Maine, it would provide a nice place for us to live. It was sort of a shock to them. Anyways, my point is we were always kind of searching to connect back to New York City. Our family was there. And one of the things that we did is my mom would take me to art museums and art galleries. And at the time, I was like, oh, Mom! But the coolest thing she brought me to see was multiple exhibits of the artist Red Grooms. And Red Grooms, unlike his artists of his contemporary time period, which were like Andy Warhol, who were interested in things like pop art kinds of things, like a soapbox or a soup can, and making art from that, and the artwork was sort of rigid. He wanted the artwork that was more about the people and the grunge. So he created these installations, and an installation is an art environment that you participate in, not just like, you know, looking at and admiring it, moving it on. So you go into this installation. So let me talk to you a little bit about some of his installations and a little bit about art. He created very bold, excited, and color art paintings. He moved to New York City in his 20s. He was from Tallahassee. And here I am. Students said, gotta move it up. So that's one of his paintings. So one of his things he did is he created a fake bus installation. If you've ever gone in the bus in New York City, it's really fun to watch the people. He made his own Fifth Avenue bus. You could go inside. It was parked in the museum parking lot. And inside, you had to walk down the aisle. You actually did walk down the aisle. And face-to-face interact with all these wonderful people and what they were doing and their gesture. They were often made out of epoxy and painted with acrylic. And it really created the whole environment. He had sound. You can't hear it here. Let me show you some of his things. Here's a picture of Red Grooms. Now, his work was so wild that I thought it was real. So my mom had taken me to the Whitney to see the Ruckus Rodeo. And I started looking at the Wall Street. He had done Wall Street in the financial district. I started knocking on the doors and windows. Because if you're only 4 and windows are this big, they do feel like little people are going to come out of it. Of course, I got into trouble. But what a thing to experience as a child. Now, has anyone seen this before? This painting, you might see it at Barnes & Noble. Someone repainted this painting, and you see Charlie Chaplin in the background there. So he did things that sort of peered out at you. He looked at old masters' paintings and put himself into it, or he improvised and created his own interpretation of it. But most of what he was trying to do is provide a commentary on life and for people to realize that life is quite beautiful. Not so much nature and trees and all things we're into, but more about our personalities. And he wanted people to come together to notice. So he always had a compulsion to make. He was more of an interdisciplinary artist. He did paintings and sculptures and installations. And that's because when he was a kid and teenager, he was interested in film and theater. Okay, so if you are going to improvise with your mom or dad and you're stuck at home and you want to make a construction implies three-dimensionality. So ask your parents to let you go into where they keep the recycling. Find whatever you can that speaks to you. It could be an old cardboard is an amazing thing, an old pizza box, good old toilet paper tubes, tape, little Elmer's glue. Maybe you can find your parents washed out some old styrofoam and you get that, and let them speak to you. So cardboard is really cool because not only is it sturdy and it will take glue really nicely, but you can peel it apart. I have no fingernails, but you can peel this apart. If it's corrugated cardboard, you'll find there's this little hill and valley thing that's really neat. So see that little bit there? So you could play around with some corrugated cardboard. You could explore what would happen if I cut. Everyone wants to just keep these rolls just like they are. Well, they're really cool if you squeeze them a little bit so little hands can do it and slice them up. Okay. So when you slice them up nice and thin, whoop, you can do all kinds of really interesting things. This was a little mask one of my kids here at the studio so you string or other organic materials and tape. Now, parents, we have a hard time with messes. I do too. But I have some tips for you, okay? So if you want to let your kids make a construction, that means they're making something three-dimensional out of found objects or organic materials. What I would like you to do is find a table somewhere in the house and put down over it old newspapers or old cardboard or even a garbage bag. Then get out, have your kids work with you in getting out some recyclable materials. Get some Elmer's glue. Little kids should not be using hot glue, even though they really, really want to. Hot glue kind of, in my opinion, is really exciting, but it really sticks. But I really would like you to use some Elmer's glue. Now, Elmer's glue has a poorly designed top. If you find that you cannot open it, the best thing to do is soak the whole bottle in some hot water. What I prefer to do is to open it, and look, I can't even open this myself. Open it up, pour some of it into a little, what?
Pass it to me, I'll open it.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you pour some of the Elmer's glue into a little container of some kind, recyclable container, and use an old paintbrush or Q-tips for kids to pour it out, because kids typically just love glue and they always use too much. So if they don't have access to just squeezing it all out, it works out a little bit better. Okay, so what I also suggest is if you're doing a little bit of glue, and say you want to glue this little bit of cardboard here, there, what I'd say is get your little bit of glue, wipe it, I tell kids, wipe it on the little bit, and then what I want you to do, kids, is put it down and squeeze it and count to 20. If you're one of my students, you know about doing that, and then let go. They think it's like the adhesion happens immediately. I think that's the problem with hot glue. Okay, so I think everybody's good to as well. First of all, thank you for listening. And you've gotten me much more comfortable being on video, and I am working on it on my website for the next week. And I hope you're staying sane, try to have fun, parents try to relax, including myself, and let your kids get a little mess at home. And a couple more things, if you're curious about my studio, my classes, this is my name, it rhymes with Maine, and you can go to catchtheearbug.com or heleneferrar.com. Have a good day. Stay. Would you like any more popcorn?
Yes, please.
Would you like to say anything?
No, good.
Okay. Okay. So long. I'll see you on Thursday. And If you have any questions, want to share what you've done and maybe this constructive